Okay.
Hi, everyone.
There we go. So thank you, Lisa. That was a fantastic video. Up next, we have Victor Soria, who's also going to talk about some AI stuff. We're learning a lot about AI today. But Victor, whenever you are ready, you are welcome to share your screen and share what you learned at ETC.
Awesome. Thank you. Give me a moment.
And while Victor's getting ready here, there is the Q&A, and Matthew Ketchum just posted that ChatGPT has been updated, and it's now current up to 2023, so it does know about some more modern events. All right, Victor, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I also attended the ETC 2024 conference. Great conference. Look for it next February. Great sessions to learn about EdTech tools. Currently, I teach English and ALD at Grace Davis High School. I'm also our site's EdTech liaison. And here's what I wanted to talk about and show you today. Where'd it go? So it's productivity shortcuts with Windows and Google, not so much actually AI. So if I'm going to open up this document, you're going to see this. I'm going to put this in the chat. That way it's what I liked about this specific training was it was very hands-on. So I didn't want to just show you things, but I wanted you to be able to. It says chat is turned off for this meeting.
That is because we preset it that way. Let me actually fix that for you, Victor. Let's see.
I just want to be able to put that link so that somebody has the actual thing in front of them.
I went ahead and opened that up. You should be able to chat now, and then once you post it, I'll go ahead and turn it back off.
Victor, if you get the executive account for how they do that live, we can get you to.
It's going to require 27 hours of PD, though. You're
That's
gonna have
right.
to host
That's
it.
right.
27 hours of PD.
Yeah.
Can I use things that I've already banked? I've got more
I knew
than
that was coming.
Okay, so head over, click on the link in the chat, open up this productivity tools and tips. It'll prompt you to create a new copy of it. Looks like this. So I'm going to ask you to make a copy. Copy of a copy of a copy. So it's going to start off with Windows-based shortcuts. So I know that when you're working in your documents, sometimes it's easy to highlight things and then click some buttons, but this is actually shortcuts in Windows, and then we'll move on to shortcuts with Google's. Hi, Sing, how are you? Good. So the first exercise, the direction says to bold, italicize, underline, and strike through words. So if you click on bold me and you hit Control U, that's going to underline it, and we don't want to do that. Control B will bold it. If we want to italicize something, you're going to hit highlight, and Control I will italicize. Underline is Control U. And I thought this one was interesting, and I do occasionally use the strike through feature, and it's Alt, Shift, and the 5 button. So the thing I didn't like about this is you really have to use them, or like I do, I printed this out and have it near my computer somewhere because it's hard to remember all the little shortcuts and tips. So if you want to align something, if you click on the box and you hit Control Shift plus L, it'll align it to the left. Control Shift R aligns it to the right. Control Shift E aligns it to the center. So sometimes instead of clicking and then finding a button, yeah, it's oh, what if how do I oh, let me just use the Control Shift left, E or R, and it will center it for you. Control Shift E centers it. Control Shift R aligns it to the right. I thought that was a nice tool. Number 3, so the shift arrows. Control Shift plus the arrows lets you select or deselect words using the shortcuts. So if you wanted to highlight words in a specific text, so I'm going to hit Control Shift plus the arrow, and then that highlights just those words that I wanted to highlight, just that line. Control Shift down. Maybe I just want those. So sometimes instead of highlighting this way, maybe you want to highlight just this specific line and then this specific line and this specific line. So you can center Control Shift arrow. Oops, Control Shift arrow. Go down, Control Shift arrow. I'm highlighting these. So that's good for just highlighting, and then you can cut, copy, paste. Your keyboard has emojis in Windows plus the period, and you can scroll through the different emojis that it has. So you can enter emojis in any document. Doesn't have to just be a Word document. This one I really liked. So the paste default. So this says go to Screencastify, scroll down until you see millions use Screencastify. Great. So let's say you are highlighting something from a website and then you want to paste it into your document. And this happens to me a lot. So I'm going to scroll down to where it says millions use Screencastify. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to head back to my document. If I can move. Yeah, let's try that. Go away. Go away. Awesome. All right, let's do that. So now, once you paste, you'll see that it, oh God, I don't want the blue. I just wanted the words. I didn't want the box around it. It's kind of more like a little screen capture. So what you would want to do, it says highlight it, paste it first by Control V, then below that, paste it with, oh, Control Shift V. So instead of using Control V, you add the shift to it, and now it captures only the words. So sometimes if you want to cut, copy and paste something into your document, and then you have to go back and reformat it. So adding that Control Shift V takes just the words, doesn't take the background. But let's say you did mess something up. I'm moving on to number 6. Control Z and Control Y. So let's say I wanted to undo what I just did. Control Z, Control Z. Oh no, I want to put it back. Control Y, Control Y. So it's an undo and a redo button. So this prompt says to type and don't paste the itsy spider. Hold up the water spout. How many of you like sing the song as you're typing it? The itsy bitsy spot? Yeah, I do that too. So it says don't, excuse me, copy and paste, but now I want to undo. So it'll start to undo my edit. And let's say I wanted to fix it, but you know, I really did like that sentence. So now I'm going to put it back. Maybe I had changed my mind. So I did like the undo and redo. Next, selecting multiple words. So this will happen maybe if you're highlighting something in a text for your students, or you're reading something. If I hold down Control and I double click a word, I can highlight several words at once. So maybe I'm highlighting vocabulary for my students and we're in a text and we're reading, but I want to highlight different points in the text and keep them highlighted. Holding down the Control while you double click will keep those highlighted for you. Moving on, I do want to get to the Control, find and replace. So I want to find, it says hold Control H and put London in the find box, Paris in the replace box, then undo it afterwards. Well, what does that mean? Well, let me hit Control H. I want to find Paris, or did I want to find London? Let's see. I would like to replace London, and I want to replace it with Paris. And replace. Place all. So now it changed London to Paris. This works really great. I don't know how many of you have written letters of recommendation for your students, but I keep a copy for my students. I keep a gender specific, and it's he or it's she and this student. And so now I use the find and replace to change the name of the student. I'm now incorporating AI into changing the letters of recommendation a little. But I have a general letter of recommendation I want to use, and I just use the find and replace to change the name of the student. You can also, going on through number 9, select and drag the numbers in the correct order. Great. So I'm going to double click and I'm just going to drag it over. Oh, let's try it again. 2. And I don't want to. Why is it not working for me? Anybody having better luck? Let's see.
I feel like this is always one of those shortcuts that works when I don't want it to and never works when I do want it to.
Okay. It says you can double click on it.
Streaming.
I wouldn't double click on it. I would highlight it and then drag it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. So it will work, just not quite as they presented it as in the double click. But if you highlight it, then you can drag it. Last one, adding a link to something. So it says add the link ESPN to ESPN by using Control K. I thought this was interesting. So if I highlight ESPN and I use Control K, it's searching the document to add a link to it. So now I can go down here to, ESPN.com and then insert that link. I thought that was pretty interesting. A really quick way to add a link to a word. Zoom in and zoom out. Control plus. Sometimes in the classroom when I open up especially a Google Doc like this and my students can't see it, instead of trying to go down and finding the zoom or the fit, really quickly Control plus. Let me magnify that real quick so you can see it. Then I can go back to the normal size. It also does work with the Control and scroll up on your mouse. So if you're working with a mouse, you hold down the Control button and then scroll up, it will zoom. Scroll down will minimize. Tabbing through different windows. So if you have the Windows plus the Tab button, let's see. Actually have more windows open on my other screen. So let's move some stuff over. Okay, so now Windows tab. So now it'll show you anything that's open. You can kind of get to that easily. Windows tab, I really want to go back to my presentation over here. So that allows you to select a window. If you hit Windows Tab, and then you can click on it and go back to it. So function 11 is either the F11 button or the function 11 button to go to full screen. So function F11 goes into full screen mode. Function F11 brings it back. Desktop access, Windows D. So Windows plus the D gets you right to the desktop. I don't have anything on this desktop because it's my second monitor. Windows D brings it back. But if you're have multiple tabs open and you have a file sitting on your desktop, let me go grab that file really quickly. Go to your desktop and let's say it's this one. Oh, there it is. I need to open that up. Well, Windows D opens up that desktop. Oh, now how do I get my files back? There we go. I just used the Windows Snap. This one's handy. I'm moving on to number 11. Hey, Alexander, how much time do I have?
Maybe like 4 more minutes.
Okay, then let me just show you. Oh, there's my timer. Windows L, if you're going to leave your computer unattended for a brief moment, or you have to leave your classroom for a second, you don't want anybody to come mess with it, the Windows L button will lock your computer and you'll have to re-enter your password. So don't do it now. Let me move on to the, let's see, Chrome browser. So these were the best ones that I can remember. So Control T opens up a new web browser. Smalls. What was the full screen again? Oh gosh, I can't remember now. Only had a cheat sheet. So Control T opens up a new tab. But let's say I close some tabs. Oh no, I wish I hadn't have closed those tabs. Well, Control Shift T will open up in succession those tabs that you closed. That one's handy because like, oh, I wish I hadn't closed that tab. Oh, I have to go down and look at the history and open it that way. Nope, whatever you close, Control Shift T opens those tabs right back up for you. That one is a lifesaver sometimes. And if you want to select a tab, man, I wish I could show you that a little better. So if you notice that here I've got some group tabs, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs open. So if you hit the Control plus the number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see if that works. Control plus the number 4. Okay, maybe I have to have it open. Control plus the number 4. There it goes to the tab that you want open. You do have to like kind of count. So I don't know if for me, 1, 2, 3, 4, I literally have to put my mouse on it and then by then I click on it. But if you're better than me and you can know which number your tab is, opens right to it. And there was one last one. Again, you can sit around, use this document to play with it on your own. But the last one that I thought was the cropping. Well, that one's going to take more time. I'm trying to use how about a reverse image search? So it says find an image search it with Google, and you can translate it. So if I Google Chinese tattoo, and now I'm going to use the Google. Oh, I better not use that one. I learned not to use that specific photo. So I want to Google image search. So I'm going to grab this photo and I'm going to drag it over. And then I'm going to use the translate feature. And it says, I have no idea. So I thought that was amazing. So you can use the image search, drop it into the translate, and that translates it for you. I think that's about all I have time for. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but this is a living document. I went through and just used all the tools on here. I printed it out just to keep a little handy cheat sheet next to my computer. And that's it for me. Thank you for joining me. I hope these are useful for you.
All right, thank you for sharing, Victor. There is a Q&A up at the top, and I did post a link to Victor's section in the Q&A there for you guys. I'll also make sure to include this in the follow-up for you because there are a lot of handy shortcuts. I know my personal favorite is the Windows Snap, which really quickly I'm just going to show for you. So let me leave my presentation. But let's say I have two things I want side by side. I can click on one of them. I can press and hold the Windows key on my keyboard, which just looks like the Windows icon. And then I can use either the left or right arrow key to snap it to the left or the right. So we'll go to the right. And then it's going to ask me, usually it asks me what I want to snap to the left of it. But if I did want to snap something to the left of it, like, I don't know, say a Teams meeting, I can use that Windows key, send it to the left. This is what I'm used to seeing. And then it'll snap it to the left, and then it'll put it to the right. Now, at the risk of having a terrible window defect, I'm going to go ahead and move this Teams meeting out of the way, get this presentation back here for you guys. But I do want to show you that it's one of my favorite shortcuts. But you'll get the whole document with all the great shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are amazing. They take a little bit of practice, but they really can save you a lot of time.
Thank you so much. That was one of my favorites, and I forgot about that.
Yeah, somebody asked about it in the discussion, so I figured I would just show it really quickly.